Scott, I am Chinwei, and I am one of the co-founders of PocketSuite. Great to meet you.
Yeah, great to meet you guys.
Hey, Scott, I'm Sean. I'm the community manager. Thanks for taking the time to speak with us today. We appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem at all.
So Scott, you are in photography. We're super excited to learn more about that. You've been on PocketSuite since 2015. So you are, super well-versed on the PocketSuite community. Excited to hear about your experience. Why don't we start by just hearing a little bit about what kind of photography you do and what kind of clients you work with?
Sure. I'm a advertising, commercial, and architectural photographer located in the Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. I've been doing it since 1995. Most of my work nowadays is actually more towards commercial and residential real estate photography. And so that's pretty much a lot of my work, and all my business transactions, I run everything through PocketSuite.
Amazing.
And how did you get your start? Did you always work for yourself in photography, or did you stumble into the industry?
I went to school and I got a degree in broadcast journalism centered on like video production. And when I got out of college, I started a video production company and did that for a bunch of years. And we did a whole bunch of corporate video. And then we bridged into doing like some film and TV work. And then eventually I just got tired of like, having an office and having the corporate 9-to-5 grind. So I eventually sold that end of the company to my business partner, and then just started to go back to my roots, which was shooting photos and doing that kind of stuff.
Was there an epiphany moment when you decided enough's enough? I'm going to go out and do something different, do this on myself, do this on my own?
Yeah, there was a short time in the 90s where I worked as a web developer for a little bit. And the company I worked for, it was a great company. We started out really small. We were like an internet service provider, and we started out really small. And I was like the 9th employee they ever hired. And then fast forward 2 years later, and there's over 200 employees, and they IPO'd, and then the .com bust happened. And as soon as that happened, I just realized like, I wasn't going to work for anybody else at that point. I remember like sitting in my car the day I got laid off, and I'm thinking like, I'm done working for other people. And I've always done side stuff, and I've always worked on the side, and my father's kind of the same way. So I just decided at that point I was just going to work on my own and start my own thing.
Wow. You must have seen a lot of changes in the industry. Like I started off shooting chromes, and we would develop stuff at home, and then when digital came in, that changed everything. But like, and the price of everything went down, right? So do you often upgrade your skills? I mean, if you do real estate, do you do drone work or no?
Yeah, I do. I do the whole package. So I started off doing, when I started shooting real estate, I was shooting it on film. Imagine that. And, we started doing that, and then digital came around. I was a little bit of a late adopter to digital. I liked it, but I wasn't really happy with the quality at the time. I kind of held out for like an extra year or two, and then I went all in. And then, as soon as drone came around, I was one of the first licensed drone pilots in my area to do it for real estate. And I went through that whole process. And now the big thing now is Matterport. I'm a Matterport 3D tour provider. So my business has really grown. I used to just be the guy that took really nice photos of houses, but now I'm the guy that, I do video, we do drone, I do Matterport, and I actually have another friend who actually works for me and covers another part of my market up north.
Wow. So, and how did you make the decision to do this all in-house versus we've seen other photography professionals partnering with other folks who specialize in these other areas, 3D modeling and drone photography and so forth?
So, I really don't know. I have a real knack for video, and I think I have a pretty good knack for technology already. So a lot of, it was natural for me to, shoot houses and, to get into doing the drone. It was just a natural progression, and as, the business changes, especially now with COVID, the Matterport 3D walkthrough tours, that's like a big thing. So I feel like I always got to be innovating, always got to be working ahead, and trying to offer, solutions to my clients. so they can, sell that home fast. That's what they want to do.
Do you think it's possible, like if COVID's changed it enough that people want no contact, do you think the technology can get to the point where people can tour and buy a house without actually stepping foot in it and can just do it all virtually?
That's actually happened to me this year a couple times already. A couple agents I've worked for have said that they have, sold the house to somebody else from another part of the country, sight unseen, just by photos or by the Matterport tour that we do. So that's actually happening already. I mean, it happens quite a lot with people that are doing like relocation and stuff like that. It happens quite a lot with that.
So earlier this year, we talked to someone who heads up the Real Estate Photography Industry Association, and we were talking a little bit about kind of intellectual property concerns that have come up with some of the new techniques, including 3D modeling, that are being used, where a real estate agent might hire a photographer or a 3D modeler to do a fantastic model of the home. And then that model, that image of someone's home, including their bedroom and their what have you, is actually living on someone else's site as a showpiece, as an example of the kind of work that they can do. But it shows the intricacies of the person's house. And there's all sorts of questions about who owns that IP, and did someone sign their rights away or not in being able to showcase it elsewhere? What's happening?
Privacy issue?
Well, that's a question. Yeah, that's a question. Is there what's happening in the privacy world around some of the kind of digitalization of real estate?
Honestly, my philosophy is pretty simple. Technically, when you take a photo, you own the copyright of the image, and I'm just transferring the copyright to the client. So when I'm done with a job and they pay for a job and the job is complete, they own the copyright, and I'm at that point, my hands are kind of washed clean of it. Okay. Because most of the houses, at least the way the market is now, and I'm not sure where you guys are in the country, but the way the market is here in Pennsylvania, it is absolutely off the hook crazy right now with people just selling houses. The market is really up.
Low interest rate.
It's just a lot. It's crazy. So, the photos don't live on the internet that long. Like, it's not uncommon for me to shoot a job on a Thursday, have photos to a client on Friday, and by Sunday, the property's got offers and it's sold and out the door on Monday. Wow. And then I'll see the agent again on Tuesday, and they'll be like, oh yeah, I sold that one already. It's crazy. I don't know if it's the area. I don't know what's going on. I know there's a big push of people from New York City moving from New York City into the Lehigh Valley. I'm only an hour and 45 minutes away, from New York, and there's just a big push down here right now. But this market has always been really strong. So I don't understand it either, but it's just the way it is.
How much do you utilize social media in your marketing and in your career? Is it or is that beneath you?
So funny thing is, so for the real estate photography and the commercial stuff, I actually don't do any marketing. I don't do any social media stuff whatsoever. Wow. That stuff has all been just word of mouth. And I've been doing real estate for close to 20 years now, and it's just been all word of mouth. And I have three mottos, and the first motto is to show up on time. The second motto is to be nice. And the third motto is to exceed the client's expectations and shoot good photos. And I found out as long as I do those three things with every client, I'm good to go. So I've never done any marketing for myself for real estate or for commercial work. It's all just come to me through word of mouth. I do have like a profile on like one of those like Alignable or Hauser, like one of those sites I put on a while ago. But for that, I haven't done any marketing. Now, I also do a little bit of travel and fine art photography, and I have another business where I sell that stuff. And I have a social media guy that works for me on that. And he's running like Facebook ads for me, and he's doing some Instagram stuff for me here or there. I'm a little on the fence when it comes to social media. I see the positives, but I also see a lot of negatives about it. And I think with a photographer, especially on Instagram, I've been really selective with what I've been putting up there because I'm concerned that, I'm turning too many people on to a location that I like. And then people go there, and then the next thing you know, there's some environmental consequences. So I'm kind of like, I guess you could say I'm a little bit of a snob about that aspect. But yeah, that's basically where I'm utilizing it. I'm doing a little bit of Facebook and a little bit of Instagram for my personal stuff, but not really for the business stuff, because everybody knows each other in the real estate market, especially, and it's all just word of mouth. And like I said, as long as I do those 3 rules I never have a problem. And if you look on PocketSuite, you guys probably could see my data, but you can see I've did close to 700 shoots this year. So that's like a full-time, 3 or 4 jobs a day kind of shoot, job.
Scott, to many, you have the dream job. I mean, you're taking pictures of beautiful things, of high value things. You're seeing all these new places and meeting new people. Can you give folks who are aspiring to a career in the real estate photography industry, can you give them a picture of what your typical week looks like, kind of good, bad, and ugly? Like what does it look like to, a day or a week in the life of Scott?
So an average day for me is usually about 5 to 6 properties a day is typically what I shoot during a busy season. So I like to sleep in the morning. Nice. That's my little sin. But so I start my day. Usually I'm up by 7 and I'm on the phone for about an hour or 2 in the morning. Usually I'm out the door by 9 and at my first job by 10. And then it's just, what I try to do is I try to schedule all the shoots around the same area for the day. I have a pretty big territory I cover. And I just, basically go from house to house, make sure I'm on time, go in there, shoot the job, and then drive home. And then at night, I actually process all those photos and deliver them to the clients. So the agents have the photos next business morning, and they're able to, and it's a hustle. It's a hustle. And
yeah, you're up late. You're up pretty late, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm usually like a 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock kind of guy. I have some systems in place, do some automatic uploads off my camera automatically throughout the day, transfer files to a server. Then when I come here into the basement, they're ready to go, and I can pull them down and, run Lightroom on them and send them out. But yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, it's a hustle. So, I wake up, emails in the morning, shoots in the afternoon, try to catch a bite, come back, hustle, get the jobs out, and then, switch and start it again. So and it is a hustle.
Scott, how do you make room, or when do you make room for the travel and wine and leisure photography?
So that's interesting. It depends really on what's going on. So typically the busy season for me starts in March and really ends in like November. So by December, I'll have, instead of like 5 jobs a day, I'll have 5 jobs a week. Wow. So January and February is always like downtime. So January, February, I'll do like other like corporate stuff I have, or I'll just take off, or we'll go somewhere, we'll go on vacation, we'll go to the Midwest, or we'll go out to, out to like Yosemite or play anywhere out that we can get away from everything. So usually it's like January, February, once in a while, early March is when we can kind of, get away to do that kind of stuff. And then it starts right back up in April. So, I mean, it's a busy business. It really is.
You've got a bustling business. There are people who would kill to have that kind of call sheet, if you will. Can I ask you, what do you love most about what you do, and what do you not care so much for?
What I don't like, I like my clients. I love going to people's houses. I love seeing how people live. Maybe I'm a little bit of a voyeur in that respect. I like working for myself. The one thing I don't like is I drive a lot. I spend an exorbitant amount of money driving to jobs, and I pretty much will buy a car and literally put 50,000 miles on it a year and wear it out in like 5 years. So what I've done is I've been buying like the cheapest cars I can buy, brand new, and running them for 5 years and then just buying another one. And that's cost. That's the one thing I don't like. But other than that, I mean, everything else, I'm pretty happy with it. I mean, I get to set my own hours to some degree, and there are some times when it's, especially like in the spring, it's crazy busy. And I think like last year I worked like 28 or 29 days in a row without a single vacation because I just was every day just jobs. But it's fine. It's fine. It's what I wanted to do, so it's fine.
You got that East Coast hustle married to a creative side. I mean, there's a lot of starving artists out there who have 1,000,001 excuses why they can't be successful at whatever art they make. But you got to put in the time. Like I've heard the excuses for years. Like, I don't understand why my business isn't taking off. Well, do 7 shoots a day and then you might see something, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly.
Yeah, another thing that must drive you crazy, and my father was a professional photographer, is he said when digital came along, everybody and their cousin was a photographer all of a sudden. So then you had to sort of justify like, look, I've been doing this for 25, 30, 35 years. Everyone's like, well, I have a digital camera. I'll take 4,000 photos and one of them I'll put on my wall. Do you encounter that in any of the industries you work in or no?
I encounter a little bit of that in real estate agents. There's some agents that will take photos on their own. And they don't really understand the marketing aspect of it. And then I have some agents that understand the marketing aspect of it and will definitely use me. And a lot of that comes to cost. It's a cost thing. Some agents just don't want to spend the money. There's not a lot of meat for them on the bone. It's a smaller property. It's not going to sell for a high price point. And then I have some agents that are $4, $5, $6 million houses and, are willing to go all out and, definitely, do, really good work there kind of scenario. So I run into that a little bit. I've learned that the agents that want to do it themselves are typically shooting lower end properties. And I try to be like that mid to high end property kind of scenario. That's kind of where I try to work it. So I don't run into that too much, but I do once in a while. I have a few agents that just use me like a service, like almost like a gas station for photos. And they just need somebody to come and take photos and are not too concerned about it. And, just walk in, the house is vacant, boom, 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 boom. And, I'm out in 30 minutes and we're good. But I have some other agents that are really, particular about the whole process and, really want to, they really, really need good shots because this house is, like $4.5 million and they got to sell it, that kind of scenario.
Scott, there are a lot of folks who are kind of coming up and aspiring to be photographers broadly, but also photographers in the real estate industry. Can you share with us, what are the 2 or 3 things that you did very early on in your career that kind of created the tailwinds for you in terms of just getting to the point where your call sheet is booked?
So there were 3 things. I don't really know, but I've always been a really hard worker. I've inherited this insanely hard work ethic from my father, who was actually a steel worker. And he kind of messed around with photography a little bit. And I think that's where it started. But I have a really, really hard work ethic. I'm willing to, get it done. So that's one thing. I'm willing to, go the extra mile for my clients. I know some photographers, hey, there's a job that's an hour and a half away. They might not want to do it. I'm like, I'll take it because I'll get another job from that agent that'll be 20 minutes away. So, I'm a little, I don't want to say cutthroat, but, I'm just a little aggressive when it comes to certain stuff like that. The other thing that's really helped me out, believe it or not, is like I said, just making sure I'm on time, doing exactly what, the client wants, exceeding what the client wants in terms of images. And then also just, delivering stuff to them on a timeline because their time is money to them and they don't want to wait 2, 3, 4 days for somebody to get photos back to them. So I turn everything around next morning.
Did you learn that punctuality from your dad, or did you come from another industry where that was a big part of your life?
I have no clue. on that. I really don't, because
were you in the military? Were you like
no, I wasn't in the military. And when I was doing the web developer job, I was late like every day. Like I was supposed to be there at 9. I'd show up at like 10:30, 11 o'clock. I'd come rolling in. I think what clicked for me really was when I really started working for myself. Because what I realized is that when you work for a company and you're putting your time in, you're getting paid for the time you're there. And I've always approached it as I'm results driven. So I'm always looking for the results. And so when you work for yourself, that's all that matters. So whether it takes me 10 minutes to produce an images or an hour to produce images, it's all about the results, the finished product, which is the images. So, I've noticed through the years and talking to a lot of other people and a lot of other agents that, they would be like, oh, I used to use this other guy, but he was always late. So I just, I kind of did like, I guess, I don't know. I kind of interviewed everybody, or just kind of, figured out what the friction points were, and then, made sure I eliminated those so I can offer a good service.
Scott, were there any training programs, books, or any resources that you used that you felt like, wow, that was game changing, that really helped me?
Actually, no. And I don't even have a background in photography. Like, I went to school and I got my degree in broadcast journalism, but it was really on the video production side. Yeah. And it was just like talking to my dad over the years. And I had a couple friends that were, photographers that kind of steered me in this direction. And then while I was in college, I was in college and I was like a musician, and I was doing like live music for bands, like live sound for bands and stuff. And I was like running a nightclub in Allentown for a while. And then I was a DJ at a techno club. And then I left all that. And then I worked at Circuit City. And then like I got a job working at a commercial photography studio. And then my buddy from college, we started a company together. And then we started doing like, all these corporate projects, but corporate stuff is boring. So we started doing film and TV stuff, and we did stuff on like Bravo Network and like HBO. And it was like all over the place. Like from the time I was like 20, I didn't get out of college till I was 25 or 24, by the way, too. But from the time I was 24 till the time I was like 40 was like a blur. And it's just all this crazy stuff that we did. And I'm just like, we had a music video TV show, and like MTV stopped playing music videos. So we decided we were going to have our own music video show locally here on cable. And we actually had a show, and we did it for like 10 years, and we had sponsors. And I just would call people up and say, listen, you want to be on our show? And, it's X amount of dollars, and come on, and we'll do an episode at your place. It's just, the stuff we did was crazy.
I am blown away. You buried the lead. I am blown away. You mentioned web development, and we thought that was the main event. That's amazing.
You're creative. You went from Richie Houghton to Ansel Adams. Hey, that's not bad.
It's bizarre. Yeah, and it's weird because like I can remember like I'm really big into like horror movies, and I can remember like we were doing all the horror expos, and we were like interviewing all these celebrities. And then like 3 months later, we were doing interviews for Bravo. They were doing a documentary on horror movies. We were doing that. And then like a month later, I did a stint as a production still photographer in New York on movie sets too. And I remember like, a year later, I'm like on the set of like Law and Order, and I'm shooting like, and it was just like every day it was something new, and I was just going with the flow, just doing my thing. It was crazy.
And you're now you're a network.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I am.
If you ran a club, you know how to deal with people, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I had bouncers for that. I just ran the front of house production. That's all I did. I just ran the front of house production and booked bands, and that was my thing, But it was like a punk rock club, It was in the Lehigh Valley, and like all the punk rock bands came through. Like, back in the 80s, like the Dead Milkmen were the thing, and we had them here at our club before they were even popular. You know, same thing with like some of the other bands, like the
How about
Boston.
Minor Threat, Fugazi,
Fugazi,
Black
no.
Flag,
Minor Threat, yes.
Black Flag, Dead Kennedys, all those bands.
No Dead Kennedys. No Dead Kennedys, but it was all smaller acts, but it was cool, you know. It was in the Lehigh Valley here. It was like a cool place to be, you know.
So awesome.
Amazing.
Scott, I am blown away. I am blown away. So I'm almost afraid to ask, when you look up and into the horizon, what do you see?
I have no idea. Stars. I don't know.
Stars.
I have no idea. I have no idea. Like I said to my wife, I said, you know, maybe like in 5-10 years, maybe I'll slow down a little bit. That was like 2 years ago, and nothing has slowed down at all. It's just been going up and up and up. So I don't really know. I'm like looking at it like this. If I can get up every morning, keep doing what I'm doing and have fun doing it,
yeah.
I must be doing the right thing. And that's
all
all that matters. You know, that's all that matters to me.
Right.
So maybe some more hair up here.
Oh, don't worry about it. Look at how punk rock this is.
I've been thinking of shaving it all off now.
Come on, all those techno DJs are bald. You know that, right?
Exactly.
But I have a quick question. We all love technology. Where do you think this is going? Will I be able to put on an Oculus and do a walkthrough of a house from the comfort of my own home with your 3D imaging and totally safe, totally fast? I can tour 10 houses a day just wearing my device.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Matterport actually already does that VR immersive stuff already, that you could do it as a goggles setup. I don't think it's 100% there yet, but I think probably in the next couple of years it will be, you know. And I just saw Amazon released a drone that flies around the house.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm thinking maybe like literally like in 3 years, you know, we'll just be flying a drone around the house and doing it that way or something. I don't know.
I think it's interesting. You'd have some happy homeowners. We put our house on the market at some point, and we staged it, but we had our real furniture there, and we have Nest cameras all over our house. So we took a peek when we did these open houses, and people were like lying in our beds and checking it out. I was is this like a decision point for you, lying in the bed as to whether you're going to buy the house?
Yeah. There's some interesting stuff that goes on, I'm sure, through when people are showing houses. Absolutely.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, so, it's interesting.
Scott, final thing, message to the PocketSuite community. We have a bunch of independent professionals. They're all on the journey, just like you. Any message to them?
I think the biggest thing is just keep working hard at what you're doing. There's probably been a couple times in my life where anybody that was sane, like if I was a sane person, I probably would have been like, I should really just pack this up. But I didn't. I just kept pushing ahead. And, you know, and there's been some times where it's been really, really slow. The real estate slowdown in 2008, you know, crushed my business. I was just like, man, what am I going to have to go get a job at like Amazon or something? Well, there wasn't even Amazon then. I don't know, Home Depot or something. I don't know, somewhere to get a job. But, you know, I kept working at it. I kept, you know, pushing and trying to, you know, keep it going. And you know, it goes in waves, up and down. So, but the other thing I got to say is, like, I know this is PocketSuite, but you guys, I love your software. Like, I run my whole business like through your thing on my phone, typically like on the side of the road somewhere from my car. And I got to tell you, it is a lifesaver, because before you guys, clients would mail me checks. I would actually physically mail them a paper invoice, and then they would mail me checks. And I would be constantly chasing people around for money, like all the time. And sometimes it would be like a little ridiculous amount of money. And it was just so much time and effort. Now with the way it is through the phone, all my clients pay me that way. It is great. And especially good on a cash flow thing, because every day I'm getting invoices paid and I'm getting money into my account. So when you're an entrepreneur, you know, you have that up and down cash flow scenario, but having a payout every day really helps me keep, you know, money and flowing and everything like that, which is great. It really is.
Oh, Scott, I'd love to hear that. So let me ask you.
Don't change anything. It's great.
We will. Well, well, you tell us what you want to see next so we can build that in. But one question for you, because there are still so many independent professionals that are sending paper invoices still and asking people for checks. Like, what was the breaking point for you to say, okay, this is no longer a good use of my time? Because it's hard to get through to folks who have been always doing it that way.
Yeah. So the thing for me was, probably when I was sending about 30 to 40 invoices a week to clients, and I was like, this is ridiculous. And I remember like emailing stuff, and I looked at a bunch of other services, and then I heard on a podcast somewhere, and I can't remember which one. It was a photography podcast, and they were talking about this PocketSuite thing. And I'm like, I got to get in on this. And I looked at it, and I'm like, this is it. And it just, from there, it just took off. I mean, I do everything through the phone, you know. I mean, it's right here on my desk. I'm actually going to do billing as soon as I get off the call with you guys.
Well, we're not going to stand between you and your invoices here.
Yeah. Well, here's an interesting thought. So for years, I was a music video director, and I was a photographer for sports and music. But
Cool.
Some of the guys that really excelled ended up shooting advertising, music video, and professional shoots on their iPhones at some point.
Yes. Yep.
So if you can imagine doing a shoot and doing your billing and doing everything from one device. I mean, I like that camera in the background, but it's a big camera, right? So,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah, I actually do a lot of my walkthrough videos. I offer like 2 levels of walkthrough videos for clients. I offer like a really, really nicely produced video, you know, shot with sliders, everything like that. I'm shooting that on a Blackmagic cinema camera. And then if a client's a little bit cheaper and they want just a really low budget walkthrough, I'm actually throwing my iPhone 11 on a gimbal.
Yep.
And I'm walking through the house. And it's quick, it's easy, and, you know, they want it, and it just, you know, it works for them. And it's on my cell phone. So,
amazing.
yeah.
It's been amazing talking to you.
Yeah.
You've lived many lives. I'm super excited
Yeah.
to hear how things go going forward. It's very exciting.
Who
Yeah, no
knew?
problem, no problem. It was great talking to you guys.
No problem.
Thanks for your time.
We will share this on social. We'll share it on our website and spread the news. So forgive us if you get a bunch more clients as a result of this.
That's totally fine. That's totally fine. Not a problem.
Have a good evening.
Yep. Have a good evening. Thank you guys. Thanks for making
Bye-bye.
such great software.
Thank you.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.